What's up, guys? Kevin DeBruin, the Fit Rocket Scientist here. So today we are going to talk about colonization of Mars. Yes, this is a Mars stress ball. Got it from the NASA Social. If you haven't seen those videos that I've posted yet, go check them out. There's 4 of them. NASA Johnson Space Center in Houston, Texas. Amazing. But back to today's topic, colonization of humans on Mars. And what that means is that humans would eventually evolve into a new species, right? How long would it take and what would we look like? So at Mars, it is further away than Earth from the sun. So it has less sunlight coming through. It's got a thinner atmosphere, and also there's less gravity. So what does that mean to our bodies as humans? Well, Dr. Scott Solomon is an evolutionary biologist at Rice University in Houston, and he says it happens to plants and animals all the time here on Earth, in isolated islands. So we've seen that starting from a single species can turn into multiple species if they become isolated. Now, he predicts that it would only be a few hundred generations, or like 6,000 years, until we have a new human species if we isolated ourselves on Mars. That's a really short time frame because Homo sapiens, us as humans, have existed as a single species for over 200,000 years. So there's some people who cast some doubts on Dr. Solomon's theories, but that's just one person's opinion. So what would we actually look like if we were to evolve? And why? So we have less gravity, less sunlight, less atmosphere. What would happen? So I started to think, I did some research, and I'm like, you know what? Snapchat has actually looked into this a little bit. You're thinking, Kevin, what the heck, Snapchat? I'm like, yeah. So Snapchat, I'm gonna put them up over here. I was like, Snapchat filters, let's check this out. So what have they done to perturb the human appearance? So we start off with the wide face. Is that a possibility? Could we evolve into something like that? Or how about the long chin? Trying to make the same face. Long chin, all right. No, short chin, just bring it up. Just having fun with Snapchat filters. Are we gonna turn back into monkeys? We evolved from them early on. Are we gonna go backwards in our evolutionary chain? Possibly. The bunny? Nah, I don't think so. Or we could, get big trailer park glasses and mustaches, so like Trailer Park Boys. And God forbid that we turn into this right here. Yep, that. If you don't know what that is, good for you. It is the Snapchat dog face filter, and it has just been overtaking 2016 and now into 2017 as like the thing. So hope that doesn't happen. Get rid of it, get out of here, don't want it no more. We're going to Mars, keep the Snapchat filter off of Mars. That's an Earth thing, okay? Don't bring it with us. But, all right, back to a little bit of seriousness here on what we could possibly look like. So Dr. Solomon, he thinks that we are going to have noticeably thicker bones, especially in our skull structure and throughout the rest of our body. Because with Mars only having like 30% that gravity of Earth, bones work against gravity, and that's how they maintain their strength. So if there's less gravity, there's less work for them to do to maintain their strength, so it would give you an evolutionary leg up if you were born with thicker bones. So they wouldn't have to, they would be stronger to resist against fractures because they're not working against gravity to do that. So the skull bones also might be thicker, and they say, Dr. Solomon compares it to, I gotta look at this, the Pananthropus boisei, picture right here, of an older version of what the human species looked like. So it could possibly look like that. And part of the reason that the skull structure is going to be bigger is because it's hypothesized by Dr. Solomon as well, is that we're going to have bigger eyes. So there's less light coming in, so we need to have bigger eyes so we can see more and observe more light. So bigger skull to hold in our eyes and protect them from such. Now, lastly, what is it gonna look like skin-wise, skin pigment-wise? So there's a couple different theories out there that are going on. Some say that you would have lighter skin and light toned hair because you're further away from the sun, you're going to be absorbing less light, therefore you're going to naturally evolve into a paler thought. Dr. Solomon does not agree with that. He thinks it's one of two things. One, he thinks that since the atmosphere is thinner, there's going to be more radiation coming in, so your skin pigment would actually be darker to protect from that cancer-causing radiation. Just like how it's near the equator here on Earth. More sunlight, more possible radiation coming in. And the other thought is that, skin pigment here on Earth is from, I believe it's melanin. Out at Mars, he thinks that it might be the carotenoids. I gotta look at that. Carotenoids. It's the same thing that give carrots their pigment color. So you could essentially be a bright orange human on Mars. Bright orange human on Mars. Gives you a little bit of a crazy kind of thought about what we could potentially look like once we evolve over, colonize Mars and start evolving as a human species. Kind of freaky. So you start seeing Star Wars, Star Trek, all the science fiction movies, that would be, hundreds of thousands, millions of years down the road, where all these humanoid, different perturbations of what the human species has turned into is just kind of scary to think about, but fascinating at the exact same time. So, lastly though, is with genetic engineering going on like crazy right now, they're obviously going to turn us into like cyborgs before we even get to Mars to colonize it. So they're going to send, genetic engineering, maybe like biomechanical stuff to keep us still being one single human species so that we can actually still interact with Earthlings. So Mars right now has no life on it. We haven't found anything. So that means there's no pathogen bacteria, which is what our immune system fights off to create strength. So our immune system would eventually actually get weaker and maybe completely go away if there's no airborne illnesses out there. So then we wouldn't have a strong immune system to actually interact with Earthlings. So you'd have to be like secluded. You couldn't actually go hang out with any Earthlings. So then it would isolate you even more. There'd be no like interbreeding. He specifically says, he's like, no sex with Earthlings if you're a Martian after you've evolved into this with lower immune system. It's like, whoa, didn't really think that kind of far ahead. It's like once humans start evolving, colonizing on Mars to a point of it's actually going to be detrimental and could possibly kill you to have sex with an Earthling. That's a little bit crazy. So that's what we're looking at today. That's what we could potentially look like. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Hope you liked this video. Make sure you give it a thumbs up. Give those likes. Click it, click it, click. Also click subscribe. Check out my other social media channels. And I really appreciate you guys hanging out to see what humans would look like on Mars.